Welcome to your ZipGrip assembly guide. Start your assembly process with cutting all the long lengths of steel and aluminum. Depending on your cutting setup, start with the steel tube as per the deductions in the assembly manual. Make sure that all safety and personal protective equipment is used during the assembly process. Ensure all safety equipment and guards are operating effectively and operational training has been provided. Cut all profiles, including the cassette front and back, bottom rails, inner and outer side channels. Depending on your setup, similar profile may be cut simultaneously as long as all safety clamps are used. If the system you are assembling requires a central lock assembly, cut the flat bar to the lengths detailed in the assembly manual and ensure the ends are cut to a 45-degree angle. Mark the center of the bottom rail and line up the mark with the guide. Drill a 3 mm hole and using the screw provided secure into place. For single-sided central lock operation, only route through the front. For a dual control, you will be routing through the front and back. Remove the template. Keep the screw as this is used to secure the central lock. Countersink the pilot hole with a 10 mm drill bit so the screw head finishes flush with the extrusion face. With the previously cut flat bar, place the longer of the two bars onto the inner plastic drive block from the central lock kit and the shorter bar into the central lock mechanism. Drill a 3 mm hole and with the blunt screws provided fix the bars to the block and central lock mechanism. Inset the central lock mechanism into the bottom rail extrusion. Slide in all the way and locate into position using the screw that was used to secure the template. Attach the front handle to the side of the sliding lock mechanism that has been inserted. From the central lock mechanism, insert the return spring into the bottom rail on the opposite end. Insert the other flat bar that has the inner plastic drive block attached, pushing the spring into the central lock mechanism. Push the flat bar in so that the screw port on the central lock mechanism is visible and can be lined up with the central lock handle and carefully screw into place. For a dual operation, you can now attach the back handle. Do not over-tighten as the handle should be able to slide. For larger width awnings over 3 meters, a locking bar support can be inserted. By using another piece of flat bar, you are able to push the guide into a central supporting position. You can now locate and secure one end of the bottom rail with an end cap and screw into position. Slide on the weather strip if required as part of the system, from the opposite end. Silicone-free spray may help this process over wider widths. Cut and secure the weather strip into place using the screws provided with the end caps. For skin manufacturing, refer to the deduction sheet for the overall skin width and drop. Depending on your setup, cut and square the skin first. Weld the zip to the sides and the keyway kedar top and bottom appropriate to the system you run. Refer to the assembly manual for the final top shoulder cutouts. Slide the bottom rail onto the awning skin. Centralize the fabric on the bottom rail and fix off with screws provided, clamping the fabric into the end cap.
Note the zip is proud of the end cap.
Assemble the brackets or end caps depending on what configuration you are assembling for ZipGrip. For a spring operation in both ZipGrip and deep sides, the driving spring is always set up on the left-hand brackets. Any helper spring will be set up on the right-hand side. The three configurations are spring, gearbox, and electric motor. For the open brackets, the same principle applies to the operational configurations. As with the headbox end caps, the three available configurations are spring, gearbox, and electric motor. Assembling the inner side channels involves attaching the ZipGrip fabric guide into the inner channel. Place the fabric guide top stops and the guide ready for installation. Secure the fabric guide into position with a screw supplied in the kit. Ensure that the screw is offset and located to one side so that it does not foul with the zip. Press fit the channel feet into the bottom of the inner channel. Repeat this process for both inner channels. For a spring-operated ZipGrip and deep side systems, you will need to prepare the tube and spring for assembly. Insert the reducer by sliding onto the spring and lining up with the spring keyway cutout. On the opposite end, attach the 78mm spring adapter to the drive end of the spring, ensuring that the locating tags are fully engaged. For the idle end, insert the 63mm idler into the reducer. Both reducers can be fixed to buy with 3 rivets evenly spaced around the reducers. Insert the drive end of the spring into the steel 78mm keyway tube, sliding all the way in and engaging the spring reducer into the keyway tube. Insert the assemble idle end and reducer into the opposite end. For a gearbox operation, there will be 2 tube reducers, a 63mm idle end and a 63mm square drive end. Depending on which side the gearbox control is determines which side the drive and idle ends are on. For an electric motor, there will be 2 reducers, a motor crown adapter, a drive adapter, and a 63mm idle end. For an electric motor configuration, remember to ensure the crown adapter and tube reducer goes onto the motor before the drive adapter. Once the drive adapter has been secured to the electric motor, the assembled motor unit can now be inserted into the 78mm tube by lining up the keyway openings in the drive adapter and the tube reducer. With either the motor, spring, or gearbox drive ends in place, you can then slide the fabric skin into the keyway tube. Once centralized onto the tube, roll up so the fabric is rolling off the back of the tube. Pack and protect, ready for installation. At this stage, mark on the underside of the front cassette 15mm in from the side and 35mm from the back. This is where you will use a stepping drill to drill a 20mm hole for a gearbox-operated ZipGrip system. If you are assembling a spring or electric motor system, this step is not required. Finally, if you are assembling a full cassette ZipGrip system, attach the assembled end caps to the back extrusion. Your ZipGrip awning is now ready to be packed up and ready for installation. Thanks for partnering with Shaw of Australia and the ZipGrip system.